Okay, ballers, let's talk about our defense. This is called the Diamond D. Okay? And why do you think? It's shaped like a diamond. This is our formation. Okay, so the 5 centers everything. He's in the middle. 1 up top, 2 and 3 on the wings, and 4 is down below. So let's talk about zones that you're covering. Let's start with the 1. The 1 is going to work to steer the ball handler to one direction or another. So he's essentially has this whole domain from the free throw line up. Okay, this is the one's domain. Let's talk about the 4. His domain is everywhere from the second hash mark all the way across. Okay, we can go all the way down here and all the way down here. All right, he's the goalie. Got a last resort to protect the hoop. Okay, let me erase these for a second, and then we'll talk about everybody else's zone. All right, the 5, his zone is right up the gut. Okay, so he gets everything from here down here. All right, so there's some overlap in the hoop area between the 5 and the 4, and that's by design, right? You want to be able to, that's where everybody scores. Hello. Okay, so that's the 5's domain. Right? The 2 and the 3 are going to have this entire domain of each kind of quadrant. Okay, so they come up here and out here. Okay, so that's why we call it a zone defense. Every player's got a zone of the court they have to cover. Okay, so please remember that. Okay, now let's talk about the movement. Let's say our opponent is bringing the ball up. Like I said, the job of the 1 is to play defense, overplay him on one side so that you kind of steer him to the other side. So believe it or not, most of the time, I think it's 75% of the time or 70% of the time, the ball handler is going to go to his right. So the 1 wants to overplay his, if he's a righty, overplay his weak hand on this side and kind of steer him in this direction. And the 2 is going to come out, and the 1's going to set him up into the trap. Going to steer him into this trap. So really the 1 wants to hang back a little bit, and once the 1 is steering him over here, the 2 wants to come up and kind of seal this area off, because you don't want the ball handler coming around, because then he's got, many options, right? So seal this. The 2 needs to seal against the out of bounds line. The 1's going to come up and create this wall. Okay? Now when that happens, the way the other players are going to react, that the 5 is always going to position himself between the ball and the hoop. Okay? And the 4 is going to come out on this block. And we want to try to bait a pass in here, so either the 4 or the 5 can step in and steal it if it goes to the corner. The 3 is simply going to hit the top of the key. Okay? So if the ball handler wants to reverse back to somebody here, the 3 can step in here and steal it, or the 5 can. Okay? So we're in a good position now to steal the ball, and that's the whole point. All right, let's take it to the other side. There's 4 quadrants here, right? Let's say the 1 is able to steer the ball handler to this side. The 3 seals off, creates a trap right here. The 4 is going to come out on this block. Okay? The 5 always what? Well, you're not going to answer me here. We're on a video. The 5, I'll give you the answer. The 5 always positions himself between the ball and the hoop. So the 5 wants to come out right about here on the read line, the 3-point line. And then in this scenario, the 2 comes to the top of the key. Okay? So we have positioning for the right, we got positioning for the left top quadrants. Okay? Now, let's say this guy's able to pop a pass in to this corner. Okay? Then the way we want to handle this is that the 4 is actually going to come out and trap here. Right? So, bang, here's the ball. The pass made it in. And the 3 is now going to trap on this side. Where does everybody else go? Well, the 5, of course, is going to go between the ball and the basket. Okay? And in this case, the 1 is going to come up to this zone right here. He's still in his zone, right? He wants to play just above the extended free throw line, but still in his quadrant. And then the 2 is going to come over here. Okay? So the cool thing about this is now we're forcing this trap, and he's got 2 walls behind him. So this is an even better trap because he's more restricted. Okay? So he's going to try to find somebody else out here, of course. He may even try to loop it all the way across the court, in which case the 2 can steal it. We have him defended in case, you know, there's a cutter here, right? So we have a wall here, and we got a safety valve here. Right? So that's the whole point. Let's do the last quadrant, and then we're done, right? All right, so let's say the ball ends up over on this side, right? Let's get back into our formation. Again, we're going to have the 2 collapse down on him, the 4 come over, set the trap. Okay. In this case, the 5 is between the ball and the hoop, so he's right here. Okay. The 1's going to collapse right down here, and the 3 is going to go to this spot here. Okay. So now we're totally protected, and the whole goal here is to force a bad shot. Okay. That is the nuts and the bolts of the Diamond D. Now, real quick, I'm going to show you our press. This is the Diamond D. It works down on this side of the court too. So when we press another team, we're going to call out double D, right, or double diamond, and it is the exact same formation, guys. So the 1 is right about, let's see, 1 on the foul line, then about the 3-point line. We want to position these guys, and we want our 4 to stay back. So it's the same alignment. It's a diamond, right? Bang, 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 bang. But in this case, we're going to allow the first pass in. And they're going to think, oh, this trap stinks. But guess what? After we allow that first pass in, bang, we already have them trapped because the pass is going to go to one side or the other. So here's where the 1 reacts, covers him, and traps him in this corner, right? And in this case, the same thing applies. The 4 actually is going to come down here, 5 right here to force the bad pass, right? And the 3 is going to come across here. Okay? We'll work on this some more, but in essence, down here is the Diamond D. Our press is called the double D, the double diamond. And that about wraps up our defense. Thanks, guys.